Today we're going to take a deep dive at the Moza Aircross 2. I am going to be going over who this gimbal's for, where this gimbal stands on the market compared to all the other gimbals, what type of lenses and camera bodies I've used on this successfully, and a bunch of other cool features when it comes to the Moza Aircross 2. Lastly, I will show you some epic B-roll, so stay tuned to the end. You're not going to want to miss it. Coming up. Alright, so before we get started on today's video, I want to shout out Recover It. They're a free data recovering software. So whether you're on a MacBook Pro or a PC, if you need to find and recover lost files, whether it's on a hard drive, a USB drive, your SD card that you formatted by accident, or even your mobile device, make sure to check them out. The link is in the description below. Like I said, it's free and it does work. The way I got partnered up with them actually was because I had formatted one of my SD cards and I had a $5,000 project on it and I forgot to back it up because I made a stupid move. So needless to say, I typed in Google, was searching around, and this one popped up. I was skeptical at first, but it really does work. So make sure to check them out today. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason Anthony. I'm a full-time content creator. On this channel, I like to teach you guys how to step up your content creating skills. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and put post notifications on. This way you guys are aware every time I drop a new video. Now, there's so many gimbals out there on the market, it's pretty overwhelming when you're looking at purchasing a new one or upgrading from an old one, with tons of different features and brands available at really affordable prices. At the end of the day, we have to talk about which gimbal is going to work best for you. Now, some things to take into consideration is the payload, the weight of the gimbal, what type of accessories that you could attach to it, the battery life, and a couple more features. Now, Moza did send me this gimbal, but I was not paid to do this review, so I'm giving my brutal, honest opinions when it comes to using the Moza Aircross 2. So let me get this off my chest right away. When it comes to comparing the Moza Aircross 2 and the Moza Air 2, if I had to choose just one, I would pick the Moza Aircross 2, and we're going to get into why throughout this video. So for the packaging, it's pretty standard. It comes in a phone case like others out there on the market. Inside, all the contents are right there, and it consists of the gimbal, tripod, manual, pouch with a bunch of different cables, focus motor, and more. Now, one thing that's really popular on the newer gimbals, including the Moza Aircross 2, is the ability to lock all your motors. You no longer have to worry about the paint getting damaged, the finish getting scratched, or any issues with the motors banging around, because on all three axes, you can lock the motors, which is an awesome feature if you're throwing it inside your backpack. Now, the exterior shell of the Moza Aircross 2 is made of a high quality ABS plastic, and there is a bunch of rubberized material for the grip, the tripod, and also protecting two of the motors. So if the motors weren't locked and they would bang around, that normal wear and tear that you're used to on the pan and roll motor is not going to be there, which I thought that was super cool. Now, when it comes to the battery of the Moza Aircross 2, we are no longer using 18650 batteries. This is the battery right here. We have a USB Type-C on the side, and we have a light indicator right there. Now, on the side of the gimbal, there also is a hole with a rubberized covering, so you do not have to take the battery out when you want to charge it. You can just leave it inside the gimbal. Now, it does have a 3000 mAh battery life, and Moza claims that the Aircross 2 has up to a 12-hour battery life, and that's all depending on your motor strengths and how heavy your payload is. So one of my favorite features when it comes to the Moza gimbals like the Aircross 2 or the Air 2 is the ability to change the deadband strength of the motors on the fly. Now, if we take a look at the back of the gimbal, there is a circular dial and a joystick with a couple buttons. Now, if you are to rotate this dial, you can change the strength and smoothness of the gimbal. So if you want a nice cinematic smooth pan, all you have to do is drop it to my preference, which is going to be anywhere between 20 and 30. Now, if you're filming action sports and you want the gimbal to be very responsive, you could boost it up from 80 to 90. Now, if you are to toggle the dial left, right, up, or down, you could change from full follow mode to lock mode and a couple other cool features. Also, when it comes to the joystick, it's very smooth, and you can also adjust the strength and settings on how fast or sensitive that joystick is. Now on the side of the gimbal, there is a cool LED ring with a power button. You could turn the LED on or off. It changes a bunch of funky colors. I thought it was a nice touch. And then when it comes to the wheel, you can customize it. You can have it pan up, pan down if you are to rotate it, and obviously pull focus when you're using the focus motor on the front of your lens. Now you might be wondering who this gimbal is for, and it's for pretty much anybody. You could literally pick it up as long as it's balanced and get smooth footage with the proper gimbal techniques like the ninja walk, keeping your elbows in, and smooth and steady movements. Now this 1 kilogram gimbal can have a max payload of 7 pounds. They even advertise it with a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera with small prime lenses. Now the reason why I like this gimbal over the Weeble Lab, which I used in Peru for 10 days straight, is the fact that I can balance my Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter. Not only can I balance it, but it clears the back of the motor. We no longer have to take the eye cup off like on the Weeble Lab. And another really cool thing is with the correct motor strength setting, I can balance this at around 40 millimeters and use the full 28 to 75 focal range, which you couldn't do with the Weeble Lab. You pretty much had to balance it at 28 millimeters and pray for the best that if you try to zoom, it's not going to be all over the place. So if you're using a Sony a7 III or a Sony camera with this lens, you have no trouble balancing it. Now another awesome thing about Moza is their application for either Androids or iPhones. It's super intuitive and very easy to navigate. My favorite new feature is Mimic Mode, where you can use your phone, move it around, and control the gimbal. So if you have, say, a wireless video feed, you can see the movements of the gimbal that you are mimicking while you have a camera operator using the gimbal. I think it's something really cool. You could get a lot more creative shots, and overall, just having that feature is nice if you were to mount it somewhere and you want to control the gimbal. Some other cool features about the app: you could do time lapses, motion time lapses, and panoramas using the right cables connected to the gimbal and your camera. You can calibrate the gimbal, you can check your gyros, you could adjust all your settings, and like I said, it's just super intuitive and very easy to use, which is always a plus. Now the Moza Aircross 2, like a lot of the other gimbals out there on the market, has inception modes, so you can get those gimmicky, cheesy, Stranger Thing pullbacks where the whole thing's 360ing. If you want to get creative, it's just another cool feature to have. Now, I went over all of my favorite things about this gimbal so far. I've used it on 2 of my freelance shoots. I haven't had any issues yet, but I want to go out there and get some more B-rolls. So let's head out to a really cool spot with a couple of friends of mine and see what this gimbal can really do. Okay, so we just got to the Trona Pinnacles. You can see some behind me, but we're gonna send the drones up. We're gonna get some B-roll of this area. We're gonna try to get creative. So we're gonna throw this camera up on the Moza Aircross 2. We're gonna see how stable the footage looks, and yeah, I'll show you, give you guys some more of my impressions with the gimbal. So now that you guys were able to see the real-time footage and the slow motion B-roll that I was able to achieve using the Moza Aircross 2, let me know in the comments below if you're in the market for this gimbal or which gimbal you're currently using. Now for my last impression on the gimbal, I think it's really cool. It's nice and lightweight. It can hold zoom lenses with light mirrorless bodies. The motors are very strong, and overall, you saw the footage I was able to achieve. It's pretty damn good.